Here for more Panzer Corps. Here to show Kremenchug. I think that's how you say it. The battle plan for this one. So I'm going to send my inexperienced Tigers a couple of artillery pieces, or maybe I think one rocket artillery. I'm going to send a scout car and a couple of infantry. I'm going to rush them down here and really screw with the enemy's attempts to land. They only land a couple troops. It's all controlled. I would say it's heavily inspired by Soren, but I imagine most people have some kind of approach that's very similar. And I view it as kill farming. I have 3 level bombers that help tackle the ships, and then I just kill farm for, I think, 9 or 10 turns before I clean up all those ships. And then at the last second, I shift over here to defend a lot of hot spots. So you know, a reasonable force to clean this up, especially with my Air Force. My Air Force gets heavily concentrated over here. Down here, this was rather dicey because I was super passive about... Well, I wasn't passive. I wasn't as aggressive as I could have been. The reason for that is I wanted a couple Tigers over here and heavy armor spread throughout, and it didn't leave me a whole lot for this area. And as a consequence, I never blocked the river. It got a little scary, but because I was sacrificing auxiliary units down here, it really turned out not to be a problem. I got my I got my elephant to 4 stars at the end of the battle. That was amazing. So the elephant was pretty busy killing things, coming in piecemeal. But the enemy unexpectedly was flooding in this way, and I did not have the forces to deal with it. So I held and retreated and threw auxiliary units in front, and it worked. I often use the auxiliary infantry to like take blows for me, and that worked pretty well. One of the first things I did is I parked an elephant on this fortification hex, and I literally had the elephant sit there until it reached 8 entrenchment. And the reason I did that is because I know the artillery will take pot shots at it, and I wanted that to be very ineffective. And with 8 entrenchment, it takes a long time for the enemy to have the courage to attack my elephant. And then after the elephant gets damaged, then I replace it with a tiger. So it's kind of like the enemy must have been so proud to get rid of my elephant, but I had a backup heavy hitting unit. And that was this allowed me to control this area fairly well. If the enemy can't cross this road, it has to cross the river, and it became a kill zone, and I had to be very, very careful about this, because sometimes tanks were trying to cross the river, and I've got infantry sitting back here trying to kill things. So there's a weird, delicate dance, and you'll see that in the end, my lines do get broken. It's kind of orchestrated. I don't want to hold forever. I just want to hold long enough for the scenario to end. So in the end, I actually pretty much abandoned... I end up pulling back in a controlled manner, because the enemy was coming really hard in the end, and I just didn't have the firepower to deal with it. But my entire arrangement is about delaying the overwhelming attack force for as long as possible. I park an elephant here and a tiger here. It's the only thing I can do because there's simply too much artillery, so this turns out to be a pretty serious deterrent. I eventually take damage, but I hold this position for a very long time. I give up the position when I can't hold the flanks because they're trying to cross the river, but due to like clever maneuvering, I delay this problem up to the end. So I'm really happy with that. The other thing I do is I push across the river pretty heavily to take out the scout and try to take out some artillery, because I don't really want artillery on this side of the river. There's going to be some artillery over here. I think I killed 2 of these pieces, but this artillery kind of only really got a couple pot shots in. It's kind of out of range because what happens is I park a Tiger in this fortification hex, and that's basically me telling the enemy, you are not getting past this spot. And then I park another tank here and another tank here. And the dangerous part is when they park on this hex, I have to ping pong the armor around so they can't penetrate. Because I often have, like, artillery sitting back here. I just have to make sure that I'm out of range of the enemy artillery. Infantry will pop up around this region to clean up, or here. No, not here, but infantry is hanging around in various river spots wherever I need them. It's very much what I call emergency defense. If I had a photographic memory, I probably wouldn't have to do this, but I didn't replay this scenario outside of like a first few turns, just trying to figure out what the correct defensive arrangement should be. So I kind of just went into this with a lot of reserves, and it was a good thing because I might have to not plug a gap, but attack something on the river because it's about to break through my lines. And so I had all these infantry floating around everywhere, and they did what I call emergency cleanup, and there was a lot of that on this map. My Air Force was great. I mean, I took damage, which is to be expected. I think one of my fighters got whacked by a Yak 3, and it almost one-shot it, but it was a weakened fighter, so it's understandable. My fighter bombers did great. My fighters did as well as you could hope in these circumstances, and my level bombers had a field day. I'm very happy with how they performed. I'm trying to think, artillery was okay. Sometimes artillery was amazing at helping me clean up, and other times it's not doing a whole lot. So let us get it rolling. Okay. I was actually, I didn't really have to replay this scenario so much. I just needed to figure out what am I comfortable with. I spent a long time on the first 2 turns. So those are the turns I replayed, just because I wanted to make sure if I came up with an idea, it wasn't suicidal. Because things are really dangerous now in the Grand Campaign. A lot of things can go wrong really quickly. If what might work on Rommel will not work in Ultimate Mode, as you'll often find. So there's all kinds of like weird, creative troop placements. My only complaint is that it's so dangerous, my infantry has limited use on the map. There's way too many open hexes. Being in the swamp is not a good idea. We could actually use a little more... 1 second. Can we... Stop. Stop. So... Stop. I want to get a little more music. Thank you. So I did place my 88 gun very cleverly to help take this fighter out, and then my Heinrich Bar came up and killed it and got its 4th star. That was amazing. Bar is finally at 4 stars. So some of you, this is different from Soren's approach. Soren takes this out, which is a lot easier to do with Rudel and not on Manstein. But I'm exploiting weird AI behavior, so this has 2 range, and I know if I don't make these guys move, that it has no way of actually hitting anything. So this is me jump starting and taking out a really annoying fighter, and I don't even have to take retaliation damage for it. What I'm really after is I want to kill this and I want to damage the scout. I need the vision to disappear, and this guy has got to go. He's really annoying. I was hoping to get all 3 artillery pieces, but I don't really have all that much time. There's annoying counterattacks. It's extremely difficult to do that. I placed my artillery just so for maximum effect. I had suppressed that artillery piece so it wouldn't be likely. Oh man, come on. I carefully suppress the artillery because the odds of them damaging you are much higher now, and a lot of these guns are heavy hitters. So I still took damage, but that was from the scout. Sometimes the enemy gets high rolls, and that's just the way it is. I know there's no anti-aircraft guns in this spot. It's in this spot that it's safe. And it's safe to put the Tiger there. They can't see the Tiger. Yep, and I'm rushing my elephant down, and I know that there's a possible fighter trap. It sometimes triggers, and it sometimes doesn't. I think it's just based on what the scouts find. I'm rushing my elephant up. And I'm trying to get everybody in flak protection. I also know that there's a Katusha rocket there, and I want it to rush forward with no ammo. But I damaged it, so I don't think he did. I'm attacking what's safe to attack, because I can't go after the boats yet. I found a blind spot in the enemy's air protection. So here comes like 20 shots of artillery. I was surprised they normally go after the anti-tank gun, but they actually went after my artillery here. But they missed both times. That was... I didn't mind because it had overstrength on it, and I'm trying to get rid of overstrength, so... I'm on the verge of breaking soft cap, by the way, because of the fact that I have such strong units, but I'm not there yet. I'm very close. Kyiv, I broke soft cap a little bit, but it was like 98%. There is a lot of stuff. That's perfect. So the enemy drains itself of ammo for me. That's awesome. That's a clever trick I wouldn't be shocked to see Bricata and Goose use, just because the infantry problem is solved on turn 1, which is nice. Oh, so we're on turn 2, so my flak gets down here. I drop my paratroopers. It's the fastest way to get your paratroopers down there. And the paratroopers are busy for a while, so you're getting some value out of it. I'm going after guards in particular because those are the most dangerous. And I know it's safe to move my troops there because those fighters are garrisoned, so they don't actually move. They just defend themselves. I have to kill the fighters so I can safely bomb the ships. And fighter bombers helping clean up. You can see that strategy of mine. Bring more fighter bombers, because helmet length is not enough. Here comes another fighter bomber. Perfect. So now it frees up 2 more fighters. And now my level bombers, starting in turn 2, even in ultimate mode, are able to have a field day with the ships. This is a super efficient use of my planes. Now I retreat because I don't want the artillery to hit my anti-air. Yeah, Kesha is continuing to underperform. I didn't realize there was a scout there, so then I took the opportunity to try to kill the scout. I'm currently blocking them because the heavy armor isn't coming yet. You can see my elephants just sitting there entrenching. I thought I was going to use the infantry to hold that position, but then I realized I was going to get outflanked and I didn't want my artillery hit. So, or no, that wasn't it. I just realized the artillery was going to hit my infantry. So that was not going to work. So the T-34 kills the anti-tank and goes in the city, and I have infantry just waiting to kill it. That was really good. I mean, that's a T-34 problem getting solved for me. The enemy has a serious problem because I've just got all these planes about to smack them around. What I didn't expect was that the enemy would retreat. That was annoying. So now if the enemy wants to go on the river, it's so weak it doesn't matter. And now that guy's gonna land. It's a guard, it's at 4 strength. I can take care of it. I know that there's a plane there from watching Storm, so I just want to kill it. Because I actually do bomb up there. That was unfortunate. But a 3rd infantry unit. That T-34 was a pain in the ass to take out. The other thing I want to do is get rid of the flak here. Poor Kesha is just getting beat up. It's really unlucky what's happened with him. I have a lot more options available because I got rid of the flak. So, if I wasn't a total idiot, I probably should have just blocked that with my elephant. But I guess I didn't want the cheap artillery shots. Yeah, I could have just blocked the bridge with my elephant, and I would have been fine. That's really strange that I didn't do that. So that would be a major improvement if you were to copy my plan. Oh, I was also, whenever I had a chance, giving regular replacements to all the auxiliary infantry. I don't think I spent more than like 100 prestige, but I found that it was worth spending that prestige. Because the enemy attacks it over and over and over again, and not my units, so I think it's worth it. So yeah, I think I take this out. Yep. So that cripples the artillery, and I'm getting the Katusha rocket. That's good. So a lot of important artillery has been hurt pretty bad here. So much damage. I got my Tiger to 1 star after this battle. That was nice. I'm trying to accelerate the collapse over there because some of those tanks I really need back the other way as fast as possible. So I'm going to take some damage on my Air Force to make that happen. I'm just getting some cheap pot shots in. My elephant's doing a great job. I'm a big fan of the elephant in ultimate mode. I made a mistake. I should pull back on turn 4 and resupply. And certain awkward things are less likely to happen. I even get rid of the air defense here. That's nice. Apparently attacking ships in the rain is really hard. Turn 5 is not a bad time to get rain. And there's more ships. So many ships. So, turn 6, you need to do a full-scale evac because the enemy's coming, and it's really unpleasant. That combo of them landing on the river, it's so good. Once again, I cock-block them from being able to do much. I'm moving the flak away because I have to protect against the upcoming airstrike. I have to pull my artillery away because mobile artillery will hit me. So the elephant has to hold his own, but that's why he's sitting there entrenching. I think it's actually a really clever idea. That's a 4-star elephant and an entrenchment. Who's gonna screw with that? First draft. But they can't get to my fighter, it's hilarious. There's another trap. Because the fighter is insulated by the edge of the map. I love the hex-based system. So they're coming, and it's actually pretty scary what's coming. And ranged artillery is a super duper big problem. Yeah, so many units. It's amazing I held this back for as long as I did. Cloudy weather wasn't so bad for me because I needed to clean up the Air Force. And I find it's easier to kill their Air Force in cloudy weather days, which is interesting. Does that mean the airplane's defense is lower? Yeah, I'm missing a lot. It's a part of the experience. So now I get the defensive arrangement I'm looking for, and I have a lot of troops hanging in the back, trying to stay out of vision range. For some reason, the fighter decided to attack the recon and not escort the bomber. I find that weird. I would love to know why that was. Maybe Soren could tell me. Because I thought they were supposed to escort the bombers, but maybe that's only true if they're damaged. And then there's some sort of probability distribution chart the AI is consulting, and the AI decides the value of attacking my recon is more than protecting the bomber. That was an ambush and they still damaged me. That was kind of frustrating. So I was actually really scared. If, you know, I'm sure this scenario was really tough for Brigada Blind, but I was looking at this and I was like, what am I gonna do? This is crazy. This is an insane amount of units, and they're crossing the river, and I'm like, I can only do so much. So already my auxiliary units are starting to show their value. And so much bad luck, it's crazy. Why am I having such bad luck? But then I got good luck because I killed the artillery. And that artillery piece is OP. It's just overpowered. It seems to constantly do 1 point of damage unless you suppress it. And I'm just baffled. I need to finish up over here so I can get my tigers, my fresh tigers over, because it's getting super scary. I think you're a cold-hearted killer if you can look at what's coming and be like, it's all gonna be fine. Because I didn't think so. I was definitely thinking it's all, like, I thought my whole front was gonna collapse. Man, these level bombers, they are gross. I feel sorry for what's happening to them here. Those are guards, I think. Or no, that's an anti-tank. It's gonna land and then it's gonna get destroyed. Once I got rid of that flak, I can use my Air Force in all kinds of clever ways. So, currently, the enemy is struggling to cross the river, which is good. But I'm starting to see the super scary stuff. And I don't want to really deal with it. I think some of those are 3-star KV-85s, and I don't even know if an elephant wants to touch that. So that's the last of the ships, and I think this is the turn I start pulling my Tigers back. I don't need them. So now I have to ping-pong this tank, because it's threatening my flag. Oh, I don't attack it. I want that 6-strength tank to be there, so it's in the way. I am bringing my Tiger over because I'm anticipating the elephant is about to experience a beating. So I need to have some sort of emergency replacements. Then I made another mistake here. I should have blocked with my elephant so that the anti-aircraft couldn't go forward and spot my infantry, which in turn allows the artillery to attack it. So that was another mistake that I didn't need to do. But it's a mistake that cost me like 20 or 25 prestige, so it's not a big deal. I'm shifting that auxiliary unit south because I was nervous about... I don't know, I thought that I didn't have anywhere else for it, and as it turns out I really needed it in the south, so... I didn't know that there was more craft coming. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, there's a major force coming, so I better shift something down there. But I can't really shift my armor. And then my Tiger gets screwed again. That's Kesha too, it's crazy. I keep asking myself, how is this happening? Finally, the ISU is becoming really useful as its anti-tank form. So it took me 10 turns and I wiped out the entire landing fleet. I think that's pretty impressive. As you can see, I am really busy on the river, barely holding them back. I'm offering the auxiliary unit for the tank because I don't want my infantry unit to be hit by one of those. I'm shifting infantry around. I don't know where I'll need them exactly, so... ISU, doing a good job. I'm doing an emergency evac. As I'm like, I don't have the forces for this. Thankfully my Tigers are coming over to protect my river flank here. And the elephant is done. That was on the river, and that KV-85 was obnoxious. But I have a Tiger tank who can hopefully hold out. I realized there was flak there, so I didn't attack that. That's a KV-1C. Oh man, those KV-85s. I really am starting to hate them. They're nasty. Once again, I'm offering up an auxiliary unit. So my line broke there, but I can retreat now. The auxiliary unit's drawing fire, that's good. Yeah, my lines are breaking. I can't get any suppression on the KVs. So right now I'm just trying to damage things and get out. By draining it that KV of ammo, it's no longer dangerous, so he can do whatever it wants. So many units moving. Alright. Let's take a look. How bad does it look? I mean, this section is mostly artillery. So, okay, if I hadn't given up the spot, this wasn't so bad. There's a couple of tanks here, and just a ton of artillery. And there's like 3 tanks here. and no armor left down here. And 1, 2, 3. So yeah, there's stuff here. In a couple more turns, I could have made that not so bad. But then that stuff is coming. And the Air Force. There was another wave, and I got to avoid it. Thank God. Well, this was Kremenchug, and I'm working on Kiev right now. Let me know what you think below.